All right, guys. So yeah, welcome to the channel again. We've got another testimonial. I think it's important for people to basically see as many testimonials as possible, because yeah, it sort of makes everything that I say and makes everything the other practitioners say become reality in a sense. You know, people know that we're not just like blowing smoke in places. So on the testimonial today, we've got a client of mine called Kyle Peche. And yeah, he's going to talk us through his journey. He's been on a pretty cool, magical journey so far. So I'm going to hand it straight over to Kyle. And if you have any questions or anything, drop them in the comments, and I'm sure Kyle will be able to respond. So yeah, take it away, Kyle. Looking forward to it.
For sure. Wow. So thank you for giving me the stage today, man. It's been an absolutely incredible journey. Um, to take it, I guess, to the beginning, I have been in the health game for years. I mean, I've done every kind of diet. I did veganism, I did vegetarianism, I did lots of detox protocols, binders, chelation. Some helped me a little bit, some messed me up worse, but there was always this like instability going on. One day up, one day down, and there didn't seem to be like this progressive baseline growing where I would just feel like more secure in my own health. You know, I always felt like, oh my God, you know, I can't really commit to things in life because something's going to come up. So essentially, I go through all these different things. I used to deal with kind of a like really ungroundedness, I guess is the best way to describe it. Ever since through high school, and perhaps before that as well, I just didn't feel like connected to reality, like you described, depersonalization, derealization. There was just like a static, you know, like tinnitus, that
Mm.
like that like ringing in the ears. But it wasn't just in the ears; it was like all my senses. You know, my eyes, my ears, the touch, taste, everything just felt like dulled and dark, and my own thoughts even. So it was a very peculiar time because like what I felt like while I was in it, um, I was just kind of like trying to distract myself from it and all that until really my health collapsed and I couldn't do it anymore. And I sought all these different things. I went to did a lot of detox, and I'm gonna say it right now. There's a lot of detox protocols out there that are flat out dangerous. Um, I've done chelation. I've done like cilantro, chlorella, and harder chelators, and it's just without a guidance like that's particular to your biochemistry and a practitioner who's been there and gets it, it's just a struggle. It's such a dangerous struggle. Um, anyways, I felt like I hit rock bottom. It was really hard for me to be like present and productive in life. I ended up just by chance meeting someone who seemed really grounded and joyful, and like he had this demeanor about him that I just don't see often, you know? And lo and behold, he tells me about the program. He tells me about Mineral Balancing Science. He tells me about Dr. Wilson's website. And yeah, I just decided to commit. And within 2 months, I did the free program, right? Within 2 months, I felt like such a massive change, so much like calm, taking like Pearman, so much more clarity of mind, so much more energy that I'm like, this is it, you know. And I just sent it. I got in contact with you. I saw your YouTube channel. I actually saw your video, Esoteric Abilities, and man, it becomes real. It becomes a real part of one's experience, you know. So here I am, a year down the line. I'm feeling fantastic. I feel like I have a lot on my plate now. I have a lot of energy. I have a clear mind. I have a joy that I hadn't felt in my life before, you know. And I felt like it was time, I guess, to share my story, because it's really hard to think there's any point in living life when one is in the midst of it. You know, I mean, when one has brain fog, like, what's the point of reading, right? When one has anxiety, like really crippling anxiety, like, oh, what's the point of trying to engage with people and stuff? You know, it's pretty heartbreaking, but I know a lot of people going through it. You know, but it is very possible to break free from that, and not just break free from that, but just break free from the whole like sick mentality. You know,
Mm.
the sick mentality, where we can just start trusting our bodies again. And I feel like the program does that so well. where we're balancing our biochemistry and giving our body more energy and remineralizing it, rejuvenating it, and purifying it. Um, yeah, and gradually one needs the program less and less. That's what I've found, and it becomes really just beautiful, and yeah, life just opens up in very mysterious ways afterwards. Kind of opportunities that come one's way when one's ready. It's beautiful. So
For sure. So why don't you tell the listeners sort of your health? I mean, how did you get sick? Let's start from there. How did you get sick? And then we'll sort of talk about that a little bit.
for sure. So my mom had always dealt with her own health challenges. She was a trooper. She managed to still make it through and live a productive life despite the things that she was dealing with. But as you know, like toxicity gets passed down congenitally, right? So through the womb. And so for me, I just had always felt like kind of like my body was weak, kind of, right? And then I ate really bad food. I mean, really, really bad food for like 6 or 7 years. I'm talking about like ramen noodles every day, like big bags of sweets every day, Coca-Cola, Sprite, everything you can imagine, everything that you probably shouldn't do, I did. So after a while, my health and mental acuity and digestion just kind of deteriorated to the point where I just needed to start healing. So it's hard to say it's like one factor, right? There's always so many factors.
So a lot of it for you was junk food. For some people, it might be the alcohol, drugs. Some
Yeah,
people, it might be Accutane. You think for you, it was just basically having a poor foundation from your mother, and that just carrying on eating terrible.
for sure. Yeah, I mean, I feel like minerals and our nutrition is like our main barrier to keep us like safe in this like crazy world, And if we deplete ourselves and keep damaging our body like year after year with all this garbage food, it just makes it really hard for us to take on the world.
So how old was you when you started to realize that your health was, you'd gone from being okay to this is not good?
Probably I was around 19, 20. So I'm 23 now, right? So maybe 4 years ago is when I really started
Feeling it.
feeling like I need to do something. And it began with a lot of fasting, right? I felt like fasting would give me moments of clarity and would actually allow me to do things. And would also start giving me kind of spiritual experiences. I've been meditating and doing all that stuff for many, many years. But it was like fasting that allowed me to start kind
So
of like,
you was meditating before you was 19.
yeah, meditating before I was
Why were
19.
you doing that? Because usually people get into that sort of stuff because they're not feeling good. Was it just an interest for you, or?
I had a friend who he explores a lot of different things and he kind of put me onto it. I tried it and I was really liking it. I liked feeling a little more present, but it was really challenging. It was really inconsistent because of the instability of my body.
Fair enough. Cool. So you turned 19, didn't feeling good, and you were saying the main thing you was feeling was this sort of constant detachment feeling that's
Yeah, like
a little bit like 24/7 tinnitus.
yeah. It's like this like a not like when you're in the flow state, you feel connected to what you're doing. It was like the opposite of that. I just felt disconnected. I was always like mind racing, always kind of like anxiety kind of up here, not really
Depression.
being able to give my full focus to what I wanted to do in my life in general, other people, all that stuff. So
So how long was you feeling not good? Because you tried loads of different things, right? Chelation. Obviously, you tried fasting. How long did that last for? A couple of years?
yeah, it was about 3 years.
About
So
3 years.
yeah.
Cool.
And
And maybe tell us a couple of things that might have that sort of happened with the chelation. So you went on to chelation. What symptoms did you end up getting?
um that was rough. There was times that I'd get full body aches and I just thought it was like a detox reaction, this or that, but I would end up doing more and make it worse. And there was times that I would feel like I would kind of like trip out a little bit, right? Like I had taken some like some weird drug or something, and it was like, no more of that. I would give it a break for a while.
You didn't really see your health improve after that sort of calmed down with the detox. Did you see it improve?
So the way it began, this was very deceptive about it, is that I would take a lot of binders like charcoal, clay, chlorella, all that stuff, and I would feel good, right? I would feel relatively clear, but then, like a week or two afterwards, I just feel like really awful again, and I felt like I had to take more, and I felt such this dependency and also this instability, which I feel now was due to not remineralizing the body properly, which the program does really well.
Yeah, I was just about to say, one problem that we have with chelation is that we believe that a lot of it is about going into the body and sort of ripping things out, and the body's sort of unbalanced. It's not really prepared for it. You're not really putting the nourishment back in. Whereas the philosophy behind nutritional balancing is give the body what it needs and aid the detoxification pathways, and the body will slowly remove things in its own time. So you definitely, it's one thing, because I've not done chelation. It's one thing having the sort of theory behind it, but it's another thing actually listening to people, and it's like, yeah, this is my experience, and I've spoken to a few other people as well who've gone on a similar journey, and they've also experienced that, so it's good to marry the two together. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, there's so many pitfalls with chelation. It's such a delicate thing to do. Like even one little mistake can just throw you off and redistribute metals into your brain and stuff, and that's just what's the point of that?
Savage, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So talk about starting the program. Sort of, how did you feel? Were there any challenges? What was there any sort of light bulb moments? Like, yeah, talk us through that journey, because where things get juicy, I would imagine.
That's definitely, I think, the most beautiful part of it. When I actually began the program, especially when I began the free program, just getting all this nutrition in and taking basic supplements, just felt like my body was starting to get a lot more energy. It wasn't going through all this chaos all the time. It was starting to just build up in energy gradually. And then I started to heal, properly, deeply heal. As I have understood in the program, it's like there's these waves where you build up the body's energy and then it uses it for a healing. And then it could be like a mini healing reaction. You get a little tired or whatever happens. But there's this steady progression up. So free program, I started feeling pretty good, starting to expand again. Did the first hair test with you. Don't remember the patterns on it.
What prompted you to get onto the full program? Why did you not stay on the free one?
It was the results I was getting. I was just starting to feel so good from it. The results speak for themselves when one implements little changes here and there, and it just makes such a big impact. Just
what were the main things that started to happen? Was it an improved anxiety, improved depression?
Yeah, decreased anxiety, definitely better mental function, definitely a lot more focus, a lot more groundedness too. I think that's one of the best things the program does. Just makes you really, really grounded. And I started feeling stronger too. Started feeling I could work out again. So
cool. So yeah, moving on. You start the program. Talk us through that, because I guess you started a lot of it because of the video on the esoteric abilities. Have you had any sort of magical moments, coincidences, cathartic moments on the program?
So that's a very interesting question. One of the things that the program has is the pulling down exercise, the mental practice of bringing energy down. And I feel like that's the preliminary to spiritual growth nowadays. We tend to be very ungrounded and in our heads and stuff. And first bringing it down, I feel like creates the foundation. So when I started practicing, I just started feeling the energy moving down. It sounds really bizarre, but then as I kept growing and going on the program and incorporating my own, I do Kriya yoga personally, but I do recognize that pulling down exercise is a very valuable tool, right? Life just becomes just synchronistic, I mean, it's very difficult to describe with words, but life becomes very beautiful, because just like nature has patterns, right? Life has certain patterns that express themselves, very individual to each person. So it's a very esoteric thing, honestly. But the beautiful thing about the program, again, is that it allows one to experience spirituality in a grounded way. You don't just go woo woo. Oh my God, I'm just gonna like fast and do 20 days of juice fasting and experience the divine. But then everything, my career, everything goes to shit, right? Like we want to be in the world, not of it.
Yeah, for sure, man. And like you say, it's when you're doing the program and you get these synchronicities, it becomes quite magical. It's a little bit like Alice falling into Wonderland. It's difficult to really describe what happens, and a lot of the time it's I cannot do it, and then people get on the program, they're like, yeah, I totally understand what you mean now. Do you know what I mean? So it's pretty cool that you've experienced that too. Yeah, I think I was talking to, like, on the previous video I did about changing the program and about the pulling down exercise and about how I felt that there needed to be a little bit of upwards movement, definitely at the back. Um, yeah, I remember I was talking to you about that at some point, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, maybe explain to people some of the things that you felt with a pulling down exercise and how you sort of balanced it a little bit.
Well, just like the NAK, and we don't want it too low or too high. Um, I feel like pulling down, sure, you tap into your all your stuff, your traumas, your pains, you bring it down and you tap into it. But if you're always going down, it's kind of like you get lost in the sauce, you know? Can make you feel really down and in your own stuff instead of uplifted as a person. I feel like it's very important to get in touch with that stuff, but also there's like, I mean, in Chinese medicine, right, like the microcosmic orbit or Qigong, I think it is. Excuse me if I'm butchering that. The microcosmic orbit, like down the front, up the back, and in yoga as well, right? There's teachings of like having the energy move up as well. It's the idea of like evolving the soul, right? We don't want to just be in the world like purely in that kind of dualistic reality, if that makes sense. You're pulling yourself deeper into that, into the world, instead of like kind of reaching out and experiencing higher states of consciousness and joy and bliss, which is our birthright, right? We have brains that are able to access that. And I feel like it's our right to be able to experience the fruits of spirituality, you know? Not
Yeah.
just always be fighting traumas and purifying. That's important, but
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it's interesting that Dr. Wilson's added that now onto the Earth blog, and it was just a little thing that I felt over the years. It's just a slight balance that needs to be, you know, pushed into it. It's not like everyone needs to stop pulling down. That's not basically what I'm trying to say. It's just that slight balance, and I think now that I sort of bring the energy up the back a little bit, there's still so much power coming down, you know what I mean, which is fine and that's needed, and it's really helpful. It, it balances it out a little bit, and you don't go too far down, which is a feeling that me and other clients have spoke to me about. But it's a bit of a controversial subject, but I guess it's not so controversial anymore when Dr. Wilson's actually, discussed it on his Earth blog.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, that's that.
I think
So I think, go on.
I think the core of it though is like we need to like be empowering people, and that's one of the beautiful things I feel like you're doing with the modifications you've done to the program. You're giving more education on the supplements, and not just the supplements, the program as a whole, the infrared sauna, and also the pulling down exercise. People I feel like need to be able to tune in to their bodies and see what needs to be done, right? If you're feeling really down, you need to know how to uplift, right? Or if you're feeling too in your head, you need to like get on planet Earth and deal with your stuff, you know?
100%, yeah. And I say to people, my job as a practitioner is to get people into a place where I am, not necessarily in terms of health, but in terms of they can work with the program on a day-to-day basis. If they feel like their NAK is going down, they can do this, this, and this. If they feel like their oxidation rate's switched, like really, really like following the program and empowering yourself on the program is like making sure the program's integrated with you. It's like not so much relying on me, not so much relying on, Dr. Wilson's website. And I think that's really when you start to become truly successful with a program, because instead of you figuring it out and trying to fight it and getting confused over it, you know what I mean, and hoping that there was someone like me that you could just speak to every single day. Now you can empower yourself, and it's only by doing that can you actually teach other people, you know. So that's really what I'm trying to do now as a practitioner, is just give people that empowerment. Do you know what I mean? Like with the supplement report that I do now, you know, with various different you know, questioning certain things based on a lot of different input from other people, and that's how things expand. That's how things grow, you know. And I think Dr. Wilson can be a little bit hesitant to that sometimes, you know, as if he's found all the answers, and it's like, you know, you've got to realise that the way that things evolve, you know, it's like electricity. The reason why we've got all this cool stuff nowadays is because there was such a, you know, there's the small group of people figuring it out early on. Do you know what I mean? Thomas Edison making, what was it, 2,000 light bulbs or something before like one worked. And then people come along and they can see things from a bigger picture and slightly see little chinks or slightly see little cracks. You know what I mean? It's their job to sort of take the baton and sort of slightly change things. So now, you know, you've gone from a, you know, a regular light bulb to an LED one. The same thing, you know, but it's just being modernized a little bit. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's what we're all doing really as a group. Do you know what I mean? One of the reasons why I felt comfortable saying what I said yesterday on the YouTube channel is because speaking to people like you and speaking to other clients and asking people, oh, do you feel this? Do you feel that? Has it worked? Has it not worked? You know? So yeah, that's what we're trying to do. No one's trying to wreck the program.
Yeah.
Maybe there is some people out there that's trying to wreck it, but definitely not the people that's part of this community. Like, no chance. So yeah, I feel like I wanted to keep this testimonial, you know, shorter than some of the others I've done. So, is there anything else you wanted to talk to people about? Maybe give people a bit of inspiration, give people a bit of a, you know, I think one of the biggest problems with the program is how challenging it can be with the healing reactions and the confusion. Do you have any tips about, because I know working with you, I know that you've been through situations that I can see on your face that you're questioning things, you know, and we've had a good chat and, you know, it's smoothed over and luckily you've come out the other end, but that is the biggest hurdle for most people, I think, doing the program. Do you have anything to say on that?
For sure. Well, for one, you know, keep in touch with your practitioner. If things are coming up, it's really important to have a guide. Really important to have a guide. Someone who's been through it as well and can relate and kind of just like get you out of the little funk. Also, I don't feel like we have to go as hard on the program. We don't have to like be doing 20 coffee enemas a day and like spending 4 hours under the infrared light and taking the supplements every single day. I feel like we need to have like a kind of a dance with our own bodies, you know. I personally, there's moments that I just take less supplements or I'll take a day off and I'll feel better, you know, and that's when I feel more uplifted, and that's when I expand more into life instead of getting more contracted into just like, it's my life is the program, right? The program is like a tool to help us live our lives more fully. I feel you can't lose sight of that. But yeah, and another thing for sure, things are going to come up, you know, and that's the spiritual journey is scary because the things that we face within, it can be intense, you know, but it's really important, and I feel a blessing to have a structure like the program, like a guide like yourself, who can help you work through these things as they come up, you know, and get you to the other side.
Yeah, powerful words, man. Powerful words. And a lot of, you know, I say to a lot of people, you got to look at it from this perspective. Dr. Wilson was doing the program back in the 90s, 80s. It was small. It was diet, you know what I mean, supplements, lifestyle, water. He's added the coffee enemas. He's added the saunas. You know, now he's added garlic into the coffee enemas. You know, basically people are starting the program with this really powerful program that Dr. Wilson's created. And sometimes it's just a little bit too intense for people. You know, it's not that it's bad. It's just like so powerful that people. It's like you know, it's like electricity and water. It's just, you know, it's too intense. So yeah, it's such wise words, Kyle. You know, it's about a gentle approach, and then you work up to a point where you can take supplements 3 times a day. You can do the sauna every day. But when things are getting a little bit too intense, it's absolutely fine just to slow down, come back into your body, take a week off, replenish yourself, get yourself balanced again. And then, like you say, you learn to dance with the program. That's how I've been doing it now for the past 4 years. Is, okay, I've got a busy week this week. Let's just tone it down a bit on the saunas, maybe, or do less. Let's tone it down on certain supplements. Get through that. Oh, I've got the weekend off. Am I doing anything? No. All right. So let's ramp things up a bit. Go through a healing reaction. And learn to dance with it like that. That is, in my opinion, by far the best way to do it. People don't start freaking out because they're just constantly going through this swamp of healing reactions, and then they leave the program. I mean, for me, it's like, what makes something really great? Well, what makes something really great is when people actually stick to it. There's no point in having something where people end up leaving because of this, and this. Surely it's better to have 90% of people following this system, but following it in a way that's a little bit more dynamic, rather than 20% people, or even 10% people that actually end up dedicating themselves to it. But like me, they've ended up going through like unnecessary things, do you know what I mean, that weren't necessarily beneficial. It was slightly traumatic. You know what I mean? Them sorts of people are probably the ones that are probably gonna go on to do great things in the future, because they've got this certain mindset of just like, the sort of professional athlete mindset. But surely that's not, we don't. That's not what we're about, because it's all right becoming that winning, being the athlete, the 10%. But when you're teaching the same stuff, you're only going to get the 10% coming through again. Do you know what I mean? So really, it's about like making things dynamic. I mean, obviously, people are probably going to get sick of me talking about it. That's what I'm doing with the app. That's what I'm doing with the supplement report. It's dynamic. You know what I mean?
Plug it, man. It's good stuff.
It works. It's sort of you put in what you're feeling, you put in your symptoms, and it sort of works. It changes itself around for you. Perfect.
Right.
We've gone from the light bulb to the LED. Same thing.
The crazy thing too, man, it's like there's this temptation to like do so much, like we're talking about, right? But like, for example, when people start exercising, it's like it's probably better to start with like 1 or 2 push-ups, right? And then work your way up, right? Instead of like, I'm just going to jump into 30, and you don't do it, and then you get demotivated. Just like meditation, just like pulling down, you don't go straight into half an hour, 40 minutes. Start with like a minute or two, and you build up. I feel like the consistent action is more important than just these super fiery one-time efforts. It's the same thing with the program. It's probably better to maybe take subs once or twice a day and take it more easy, right, and work with your body, than be jumping straight into 3 times a day and all the intensity, going through a healing reaction, backing off and saying the program's not for you. It's better to just, like we say, dance. Exactly. My opinion.
Cool. Well, we're up to 30 minutes. I think that's a good chunk of time for people to watch. So we'll leave it at that. Is there anything else you want to say closing, Kyle?
My man, I'm just grateful for you. I'm grateful for the program, and it's been an incredible journey. And I really hope other people get to experience health, like true health.
And I like to say the universe is magical. It says jump on the magical train. It's much more exciting than the Instagram train or the victim train. Jump on the magical train.
Oof. Yeah, man, it's hype.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching. Usually on testimonials, I'll speak to Kyle afterwards, but usually on testimonials, the people put their emails into the description box for people to get in touch. So that might happen with Kyle. If not, drop your comments down below. Thanks for watching. And hopefully we'll see Kyle again in a couple of years. And maybe he'll have sprouted some wings. He will be doing it from a cloud or something.
Maybe, man.
Cool. All right, man. Thanks a lot. And catch you soon, guys.